Memphis AFL-CIO Labor Council. We are here to officially announce our endorsement of Congressman Cohen. For those people that who know Congressman Cohen, even when he was a state legislator, he always supported working men and women. And this is the reason why we continue to support him and will continue to support Congressman Cohen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Schaefer. I'm the president of the Memphis Building Trades Council. We also are proud to announce our endorsement of Congressman Steve Cohen for re-election. As Irvin said, Congressman Cohen has always been an advocate for working people, whether it's union members or just the average working people, and has supported us up his whole career from the state level up to the national level, and we're proud to say that we're standing behind him for his re-election for 9th District Congressman.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody who's here, and I think I've got the representatives of the machinists, the steel workers, the SEIU, the AFSCME, the postal workers, United Food and Commercial Workers, the electrical workers, Boilermakers, insulators, letter carriers, bakers, confectioners, tobacco and grain, iron workers, firefighters. Did I miss anybody? Operating engineers and UAW. Sheet metal workers. I appreciate each of these people for being here and their membership, for they are the middle class in America. They are the job producers. They are the job creators. If middle class Americans don't have adequate wages to where they can buy goods, there won't be goods produced in this country and goods sold that create jobs. It's not coming from the top down, it's from the middle class that needs to be preserved in this country and that's disappearing with the disparity in wealth that we see in this country, the greatest ever. I have represented the voices of working men and women since I was in the state Senate and in Congress. I've always gotten A or 100% rankings from these groups. I've always had their support and I appreciate it greatly. I realize working conditions, labor conditions, earning capacity, minimum wage, Davis-Bacon are important to America and important to what America stands for, giving people opportunity. Labor groups have always stood for civil rights and human rights. They've been on the front burner in every social issue that's been around. They are the core of the Democratic Party. I very much appreciate their support here today. We'll continue to work with them, and they're keeping going with Cohen, and I'm going to keep going with labor. Together we'll have a victory in August, another victory in November, and then hopefully some victories in Congress. But always will they have my vote. There are many circumstances in our country, nationally and locally too, where too much has happened and the working people have taken the brunt of it. We have to make sure that the working people in the middle class don't make the sacrifices on all bases and all budgets that would affect the future of our communities. There needs to be shared sacrifice, and labor is always there and willing to do that. With that, I'd like to yield and respond to any questions you may have.
One question, please. In the Congress, what do you think is the most important real face of labor right now? What's the most important fight face of labor right now?
Labor's got so many fights. I think minimum wage is important. I voted for the minimum wage increase in 2007. I support the minimum wage increase this year. Unemployment compensation is important for labor. Trade negotiations are important. And there are certain trade agreements that would hurt working people, and they're being considered right now and may come up for votes. Labor might have some other issues. Any thoughts y'all have besides trade agreements, minimum wage, unemployment insurance? Right to organize. I know one of my last bills in the Senate was for police and firefighters to have the right to organize and be represented as a union, and it was one of the bills I've worked on in Congress as well, and that's still an issue. Any others?
Everybody been skirting around the issue of what's happening here, and you can't touch it with the city and what goes on with labor. Once we go in and fight, we should not fight a sucker fight. You want to touch it?
Well, since you brought it up, I will.
Thank you, Congressman.
You're welcome. You're welcome. There are federal issues and there are local issues. I have expressed my opinion to Mayor Wharton personally on my thoughts on this issue, but we elect city councilmen and a mayor,
Yes,
and it's
sir.
their job.
Yes, sir.
If I infringe on the turf of the city council, they're not going to appreciate it, and my input is going to be negligible.
How long?
It's better for me to have the opportunity to have a good working relationship with the mayor and the city councilman and talk to them privately about issues such as this than to burn bridges. A congressman's job is, there's several. Constituent services, voting right, and maintaining good relationships to where you can work hand in glove with your mayor. I've done it with Mayor Wharton, and I did it with Mayor Harrington. Thank you, sir.
Can you share what your opinion was that you expressed to Mayor Wharton?
No, if I did that, there'd be no reason to do it privately. But if I did it, it'd be pandering. And we don't want to be a panderer.
Talk about foreign
I mean, it'd be easy to do. You could go out there and Yahoo, I'm for this or I'm for that. That's pandering. When you don't have a vote and you don't have influence, that's the quintessential definition of pandering. And for people who've taken a position publicly, I don't know if they've said that what they would prefer, a tax increase, or if they prefer laying off people. I'm not sure if they took any position, to be honest.
From that standpoint, do you think your opponent pandered to the police union?
I don't think Isaac Richmond has done anything at all.
No say.
But Steve, you must admit that overburdened pension plans in these cities is of concern to a lot of cities.
Oh, it's a concern. We saw what happened in Detroit. There's other cities. And we got a wake-up call from the treasurer telling us that we could be in jeopardy. The comptroller, I guess it was. The comptroller. We could be in serious financial trouble. So something had to be done. Now, I don't think it should have all fallen on the health benefits and or pension benefits of people who had certain rights. And there are issues about those, whether or not they had, the rights were ones that they could assert or whether they could be taken away, whether they vested, and that's something Clyde Keenan, I'm sure, will bring forward. But there are other areas where you can shared responsibility. And it could have been a mix of taxes and layoffs and efficiencies and all. But the council's got a tough job, and I don't know all the issues, I just know what my philosophy is. Anything else?
Congressman, where are we on the fixing up the Voting Right Act? You and I had that conversation before.
That's an important bill, and when we work on those issues, AFSCME's always with us. The unions are generally there too. The NAACP and the Wade Henderson from the Civil Rights Foundation are the leaders, Hillary Shelton from the NAACP. To get Republican votes, we've got about 7 Republican sponsors, including Jim Sensenbrenner. To pass it, we need at least 20 Republican votes. At one point, you had to be a sponsor of the bill, which I am now. You had to bring a Republican along with you, because the idea of Mr. Clyburn and other leadership was they wanted to see the bill as bipartisan. Accordingly, I went on the floor of the House, and I sought out at least 15 different Republicans who I thought might be a possibility. Those who weren't running for re-election, those who'd shown a scintilla of interest in the issue or might have a soul that could reflect in their sponsorship. I found that it would have been easier for me to go to the South Pacific and find that airplane than to find a Republican on the floor for voting rights. Accordingly, I don't think it's likely that we're going to have a bill passed. All of these voter ID laws and other type actions that are looked at stopping people from voting, the Republicans know they can't win if everybody votes. That's why we've got felon voting laws in the South from the Jim Crow days. If everybody voted, Republicans wouldn't win, even in the South. So I don't see them coming forward and saying people have a chance to vote, even where patterns have been shown of discrimination, and that would make it prime cases for pre-clearance and the Justice Department getting involved. I am a sponsor of the bill. I'm on the committee in Congress that works on voting rights, and have been meeting with John Lewis and John Conyers and Hillary Shelton, Wade Henderson, Nancy Pelosi, Cindy Hoyer and company for quite a while. But I don't think we're going to get there. It's a shame. It's American as apple pie, though. Any other questions? If not, thank you, labor, men and women. Thank you very much.